is a ready. If you push that button, you ready track 1 to record, so that when I go in to record, track 1 will record, right? This is the input button, which shows me what's coming into that track. Now, I don't need to see that, I mean, except to get my levels before I record, right? So you can do all inputs here, and then you just do this to take it out. Come on, out.
Somebody tell him what he's doing, I can't see.
Okay, can you see? Let me turn it around.
I'm too short, that's all, yeah, there you
Okay.
go.
Okay, so this row up here, ready, means when you push this button on 24, it's ready to record on 24. If you push this button, the blue one, it shows you what's coming in on 24, okay? And then when I want to hear playback, I can push that button. Notice it's locked. It's kind of a safety. If you're recording on 24 and you're looking at input, you don't want to be going back to playback. Now this playback is where? Where is it going to play back when this row is lit? At the record head, okay? Why do we do that? Because it's what's called cell sync or a sync record or a sync head. The record head is going to be playing back all your tracks, so the newest information is going to go on at the same place as you're hearing the tape. Why is that? Because they line up that way, you see. In other words, if I've got 23 tracks and I'm going to lay down a vocal here, I've got 23 tracks that are going by the repro head and the record head. If I want to record, I'm going on at the record head. So I want to temporarily make my record head a playback for all the other tracks. It's not as good a quality as the repro head, which is the one later, but it does keep me in sync. What would happen if I didn't do that? If I'm in repro here and I'm recording something here, it's going to be out of sync because this is going on at the record head. This is coming off at the playback head or repro head, you see. So that's what we want to do. We want to just keep this in sync while we're recording so that all the playback comes at the same place as what's going on to tape at that time. Does that make any sense? Okay. Do I need to say it again? I can tell you again. Sync playback happens at the record head. It temporarily becomes a playback head for all those tracks that you're not recording, okay? Then when I get done with all of this, I want to take everything out of sync playback and playback at the repro head because the quality is better on the high end. The head gap is very smaller. But what's good about the sync head as the record head, the gap is fairly wide, which gives you a lot of signal on tape. You can put more signal on tape to overcome that hiss, you see. But it's not as good a resolution on the high frequencies. So the repro is made to be better at high frequencies with a little smaller gap, not a very big smaller gap. I mean a very smaller gap, not a big smaller gap. Okay, now that's how that works. Now what do these controls do down here? These are our memory controls here. If I want to, it says I'm at 1627. I'm pretty much towards the front of the tape now. Yeah, I can reset from here. I can reset this to 0. That's the front of my tape, right? So let's say I go down to, let's say the first verse takes about that long, okay? Then I want to memorize this spot as my locate 1 instead of 0. Okay, how do I do that? I push this arrow here. It transfers this time to this bottom window. And what I'm going to memorize is what's in the bottom window, not the top window, okay? Everybody see that? So what we're going to do now is we're going to store that in number 1, okay? Now, what happens if I want to go back to the beginning? I hit 0 locate up here. And if I want to go to number 1, I hit locate 1.
If you would have hit reset, it would have changed the bottom.
Pardon?
If you would have hit reset, would it have changed the bottom?
Yeah, because you don't want to reset once you set zero. Zero's at the front of your tape. I mean, if you want to, and you've done one tune at the front of the tape, and you go down, say, 5 minutes, you can do a zero reset, and it'll just go back to that song. Do you see what I'm saying? It's very, what's the word? Dynamic variable. You can set zero anywhere on the tape you want, and then everything else is relative to that.
Then could you put like the store 1 for like each song and then 2 for the second song?
Yeah. Now let's go down. Let's say we're down now to the second verse. Okay. That's what I want. I have to hit this button. Stop. Down. Taking that. And I store that in 2. Okay, now let's go back to 1. That's 1. And now let's go to 2. You notice it brings up the time in the bottom window that you had when you stored it. So now I'm down at 2. So let's go down a little bit more to some other place. Push this button. Store in 3. Okay, now if I go back to 2, okay, if I want to go back to 3, I hit locate 3. And let's try something now. I'm going to go down to, we're on 3, right? Let's go forward. Okay, I'm going to try this because I haven't done this in a while. Push this down here, and you store. I'm going to try 88. Store in 88, and let's see if we can go to recall 88. No, it's just 8. Maybe it stored it in 8. I don't know. Anyway, let's go to 3.
What does a recall do?
It gets you to recall any numbers higher than 4. Okay, let's try it. Recall 8. Didn't do it.
Maybe they go to 88.
It's potentially there, but it's got a different number here. I don't know what that is. Let's see. That's not our number 1. There, that's our number 2. So I hadn't done this in so long. I sold this machine to a studio in Australia. They paid twice what I paid for it. That's fine. You know, I wasn't doing any tape work anyway because nobody wants to buy the tape. I'm going to go on down here a ways. Now, let's try it again. And I'm going to try to store and 9. Okay, I think that'll work. Now let's go back to 4, 3. Now let's try recall 9. Is it moving?
It showed up.
Yeah, but now we got to move it. That's not going to be 4. Yeah, I'd have to get the manual out and read that. It does have the time
Press
stored.
up.
Pardon?
What happens if you like press up instead of down?
It's not going. Yeah, you got to hit locate something, and recall should do it, but it's not. So, you know, if I don't really ever use any more than these anyway, than the 4, and one song. That's enough, really. So that's how this little system works, and I had to. There's a manual online if you want to go look this up. How to store 9 above 4. So you really have 5 points. You see what I mean? You have 0, 0 locate, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 is pretty much the. Let's see what this does. Shift. We don't have a 4 stored. Okay, see how all that works? Now, if you want to move tape, you can do this. If you want to go back and forth to find a point for editing, and you do that in Repro, or, yeah, that's where I usually mark the head. And you have a little white china pencil. You get the sound exactly where you want it. Right at the first note, you back up a hair, mark it, then you cut the tape, and then you put some of the leader on, and that's tune number 1 beginning. Then you go to the end of tune number 1, and you do the same thing. You put some more leader in. So all the production tapes that are ready to be mixed have leader in them usually, unless you plan to use the tape again, because obviously you can't use the tape again if it has leader in it. You know, you'll be in the middle of a song and suddenly the tape's gone, you've got leader. It won't work, it won't record. Okay, any questions on that? So how do we patch and how do we set this up to do the SMPTE thing? What do we do over in Pro Tools? So if somebody open it. You can actually open our file we did in class. What's it called, Blue Horizon?